What's up, change makers? Welcome to JLD Storytelling, a YouTube series where we will be showcasing the inspiring stories of young men of color in our community. Let's get into it. What do you think is one of the biggest lessons that you learned while you were in the service?
You know what's crazy? So my job, I was a human resources specialist. So all I did was paperwork. I took care of people's like awards, promotions. But the unit that I was in, I got sent to war, and it was like, what? Why me? This don't make sense. This not what my paperwork said.
Yeah.
But in Afghanistan, that is when I really seen everything changed for me. Over there, they don't have TVs, they don't have electricity. When the sun goes up and come down, that's when they go up and come down. That is it. I seen the women pregnant walking from the top of the hill to the bottom to get water, carrying it back up to cook while the men out just having fun. And it's like, my kids would not survive over here because they don't know what it's like to not have a cell phone, PlayStation, Xbox. So it made me not take anything for granted anymore. It made me really say, you have to be thankful for everything that you have, like everything, because they don't know what it's like to have a TV. They don't know what it's like to have a cell phone, so they can't miss something they don't know. So the kids were over there happy to have a basketball. That was life to them. And I was like, you know what? We take life for granted. In America, we just we don't know how good we have it.
It makes you really think about what is the most important. And when it comes down to it, family is really, and I know for some of us, family is different. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. Everybody can't say mama, dad, or what have you. Right. But what we know is that the people that are family for you, those things, that's what's most important.
Right.
Like you said, these dollars and all this kind of stuff, you find it's really not all that it's cracked up to be. I mean, we need it to live. We gotta eat, we gotta have a roof over our head, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like from time to time to be able to go and have a nice little meal, but I can only imagine actually having to live in that type of environment for some extended amount of time. Wow, I could go on all and on with you about that.
Yeah.
Another wonderful thing about you, Coco, like you say, you really are selfless and you love giving back into the community, and you are a teacher at Lexington Senior High School.
Yes.
I'd love to learn a little bit more about what it means to you to be a teacher.
So I see the young men, and they remind me of young me, just lost, just living day to day. So any child or any adult that I work with will tell you, I'm the one in the hallways, I'm interacting. I get in trouble sometimes because I'm spending too much time with the kids, come in my classroom, they talking to me. So me as a teacher, one, I'm teaching, I'm guiding them, I'm giving them insight into what it is I do. I'm teaching them all about the computers and designing and giving them, insight on something that could benefit them later. But also, I'm a mentor. I'm big brother. I'm everything that not some of them, but most of them are lacking.
Yeah.
A lot of these young men don't have a positive role model to look up to. They don't know. They're not used to seeing someone who looks like them, who has done something with their life.
Yes.
So I'm changing the narrative. Like, listen, it's okay. It is you can do whatever you say you want to do, you can do it.
Well, Coco, listen, I seriously can sit here and talk to you for a whole nother hour, but I know we don't want to do that. And I just want to thank you so much. Is there any last words, anything else that you would want to share with anyone who watches this video before your weekend?
I want to say, for those who watching, if you're able to connect with me, please use me to my full potential. I am here. I've made the sacrifices to be the cameraman, to be a mentor, to be a teacher. Please, lean on me. I found my purpose, and I know this is what I'm here for. So if you're watching this and you've seen something from me that, maybe you're going through something and you want to reach out, if you're a veteran and you don't know how to get the benefits, contact me. If you are just a brother who just needs somebody to talk to, contact me. My line is always open. If even if you don't need anything from me, just connect with me, because we never know what can happen. Like, I'm a genuinely warm-hearted person. I'm just here to make the community better, and hoping that my legacy, when it's all said and done, I made a difference. Piggybacking off of that, who has been the most influential person in your life, and how did they shape your journey?
Man, I think the answer for me is certainly like my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, he has been just amazing in all the things that he has done. He has continued to do, and staying rooted and grounded in my faith, even when things seem insurmountable. When things seem like they are out of my control, when things seem like they're too big for my hands, I've learned that that's when they are just right for his. And so certainly him on earth has definitely been my mom. She's been my biggest supporter, and certainly been in my corner and there to correct me and guide me and give me advice. And she's been amazing, and still continuing to be a grandmother, even in the midst of what she had going on physically in her body over the last couple of years. Seeing her fight in that way certainly even allowed me to have even more respect for her as a woman.
Like when I was getting older, I knew that I went from 20 to 30, and all they were just supposed to stay the same age. Like, you're not supposed to get older while I get older.
Right.
What I was when I was 5,
Right.
No, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
I still battle that daily. Like, I still feel like I'm a kid. Like,
right.
My parents and my grandparents, I'm still like their baby. So it's hard for me to. I got kids.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, Garrett, for those who don't know, you do real estate.
Yes.
What inspired you to go for that career path? What pushed you towards that direction?
At the time I was teaching over at West Salem Prep, which was again just an amazing experience. Had a great time over there with those children. At the time, my wife was pregnant with our daughter, and she was gonna be going out of work for a while, and I said, well, I'm gonna have to figure out something else to do, and I had no idea what it was I was gonna do. So in the meantime, I got invited to a lunch by one guy I didn't know, and the other two gentlemen I didn't know at all, and we met at the Village Grill, and we got to talking, and they said, Gary, we really think that this would be a lucrative career for you, and that you would be really good at it. And so, again, I didn't know anything about it. And then the one guy says, I believe in you so much, I'm willing to pay for you to get your license. That's how I got started. And then, I was at the age, probably 24, 25. So all of my friends were, starting to have children and things like that. And so I was able to reach out to the ones that I figured, maybe would have the capacity to buy a house, and they did. And that's just kind of how I got started from there.
That's awesome. Well, and then on top of real estate, you found yourself on the city council for North Carolina, right?
Yes.
So, and you're representing Ward 5 in Lexington. And so I'm wondering, what motivated you to run for a position on the Lexington City Council, and how has that role impacted your life and the community around you?
I remember it so vividly. I was sitting on the porch where I would see you and Lily ride by every day on Rayford Avenue, right? And I remember my wife saying to me, she said, "I don't think this is going to be temporary." I said, "No, I don't think so."
Don't say those words.
As I was sitting on the porch, like every day, I mean, it would be cars, just stopping. Some people to say hello, some people to talk to me about concerns in the community and things like that, and. I started asking God, what is it that you're saying to me in this season of my life? And so Mr. Tyrone Terry came to me, and he asked me to come to a couple of city council meetings with him, and sort of observe the way things were going and see if I thought I would have the capacity to help in some way. And so that's what happened. And I began to talk to my friends and neighbors and family members. And we both have really big families in
Yes.
Ward 5. And as I started going through the voter list, I said, well, that's my aunt, that's my uncle, that's my cousin, that type of thing.
Yep.
And, these are folks whose homes I grew up in and that type of thing. And so I started reaching out to them, and it kind of just materialized from there.
What advice would you give young men of color who want to be successful and who want to be a part of the group that makes a difference in the community? What advice would you give them?
I think that the advice that I always give is to figure out, what it is that you do well and where it is that you can help. The Bible says that your talents will make room for you. And Coco, what you do may be different than what I do. It may be different than what Dia does. But Kerrick, he has his field, right? And art, and Jarrell has his field, and I have mine. And I think that you figure out, what it is that you do well, and where it is that you can truly be a servant to other people.
So I'm interested in knowing, who are some of those players in your life that have helped with that resiliency, and what were some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from them?
Yes, thank you for that question. I'd say early on, I would definitely say my grandfather and my mother. I've watched them through several setbacks within their life, and regardless of, or no matter what it was that they went through, I never seen them give up. Did I see them stressed? Did I see them frustrated? Absolutely. But did they ever quit? They did not. And so with that gave me determination within whatever it is that I'm faced with in life to just keep going. And also in hindsight, seeing them stress, it was just like, for me, it was like, okay, these are things that I don't want to do in life. I don't want to stress. So how can I control things how can I control the controllables? How can I take responsibility for what it is that I can be responsible for and move forward and control those things, and everything else, take it one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 second at a time, and allow that to be, because I just want to make sure that as I observe them through their setbacks, that I could learn from it from a holistic standpoint as well.
But was there ever a time where you felt like the obstacles were just too much and you almost thought about giving up? And if so, what helped you get through that? I know you spoke on it a little bit about, your mom and your grandfather, but what about you? Was there ever a time where you faced like adversity?
I'd say I went through a depression in college. But in terms of giving up, I can't say that I've ever felt like I wanted to give up. Has it been very difficult, very challenging at times? Hell yes. And and just in those moments, I recall just what it means to be resilient. And I think of my grandmother as well, because ever since I was younger, my grandma, she would always tell me I'm going to be special, or that I was special. And no matter what, just keep going. So she's a constant reminder for me, in the very background. It's she's always there, along with my mother as well. But I would definitely say that's one of the things. But aside from that, keeping my head in the books. I love to read, and I think that there's so much information within books that, for me at least, it's allowed me to shape my life in the way that I have, just by the way that I think. I've always been a student, so just, again, continuing to be a student of life.
Oh my gosh, you have said so much here. I personally want to record this back so I can just go back and listen to a few things you just said, because it was really good. But I really want to lean into just the fact that you talked about, you said, I'm not really what, the ideal of what an African-American male might be, and I thought I might have to change. Yeah.
Can I start right there for a second? I'm going to say that when I was younger, I thought that. But as I got older, I realized that, what does that mean? What does it mean to be masculine? Or what does it mean to be strong? What does it mean to be me? And when I got that answer, it was just I love that. I don't care what anyone think, or I don't care how it looks. It's just this is what makes me happy. I feel joy, I feel peace, and I'm not harming anyone in the process. So let me do me, and we're good. And that's how it's been since then. So yeah, I'm not even going to give power to that to say that that's how. I can say that at one point in time, I viewed myself in such a way.
And I'm wondering, along your journey in building your business, has there been any different perspective, going for your dreams against all odds, your perspective in actually success and what it means to achieve success?
Absolutely. And not just as it relates to my business, but in life in general. As we grow, our goals change. And over time, you begin to realize how much do those goals really mean to you. And for myself, that was kind of a conversation that I had. And I began to realize that for me, success is joy, it's peace, it's being able to make decisions on my own behalf, it's the ability to have a choice. I know that I can choose what I want to do with my time. I can choose who I want to spend my time with. I can choose what I want to eat, all of these things. And I like to think of those things as privileges to some degree. But we don't necessarily think about that on a day-to-day. So for me, it's just like thinking about it in that standpoint, it makes me feel successful in that way. I think that at one point I thought of money, having a home, having X amount of figures in my bank account, that was success. But we see every day where like people have those things and they're not the happiest, So, or even in our own sense, let's think of it in a sense of we buy this car and we're like, I can't wait to get this new car. And then you get this new car and you're like, man, I like that car. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
So true.
You just wanted this car. And I experienced that when I buy a new iPhone. You know how they market, I can't wait to get this iPhone. And then you get, man, this is what I spent my money on. I should have kept this that. So I think, again, just as it relates to success and like kind of what happens with that is the idea of creating that feeling. So if you can create that feeling of what it feels like to have said thing, then like you can create happiness, you can create success. You don't necessarily have to have that object to create that feeling, That's why when you get that iPhone or you get the card, it doesn't mean anything now, because it's just like I only really appreciated how it made me feel, not the. And I think I know that that's also a basic rule of manifestation as well. If you think about it and you create that feeling, you can bring into your energy field, into your manifestation, whatever it is that you want.
Absolutely. Is there any last things that you would like to share with anybody or let people know how they can find you, follow you, get in touch with you?
I'm on Facebook, Jarrell Smith. I'm on Instagram as well, official_REL. I also do small life coaching sessions. I'm in school for psychology. I have 2 more semesters, so I've been doing a lot of life coach, or I won't say a lot, let me be honest. I've coached a few people and it's been very successful, and I'm always looking to have other conversations with people, especially people that look like me and come from where I come from, to be that motivation. So the door is open there for anyone that would love that opportunity as well.
I'm big on giving people their flowers when they can smell them, and I just want you to know, man, thank you for being you. Thank you for being inspiration. I know you have a million other things you're going to continue to do. You're going to be successful, but me knowing you from little Jarrell to who you are now, it's just an inspiration to see you. Like I said, I'm a fan. We are related, but it's bigger than just being related. Like I said, man, I'm thankful to know you, and I'm thankful to just, be able to see you on your journey and just keep going, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you want me to introduce him?
Yes, please.
Okay, so today we have Kendrick Job. He wants to be categorized as a visual artist. I've seen his work. I'm sure many of you have. He's known locally for his paintings and stuff he's done for the community, but he's also done some work globally. I've seen him done some work for like the baby. He did a painting for the baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's amazing. So without any more hesitation, we have Kendrick Job.
How y'all doing?
Doing great. How are you doing, Kendrick?
I'm fantastic. I feel good to be in the company of such amazing people. like you too. Thank you for having me. I think it's great that you were able to connect, because better late than never. That's how I feel about everything I'm doing right now.
All right, so Kendrick, first we want to know if you would have to express the type of artist you are in one word, what would you use?
I would say unpredictable.
Can you give us some more on that?
Well, I would use the word unpredictable because I'll wake up and feel completely different than how I felt when I went to sleep, and I think that affects my work a lot. So like I look back at some pieces that I've done, and it was because I was angry at the time, and now I realize like I would do it completely different, even though it was just maybe 4 or 5 months ago. You know what I mean? So I realized like even I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. So I know a lot of other people, that anyone who's paying attention probably looks at it like, wow, he does all kinds of stuff. Because you know what I mean? There's no particular lane that I keep myself in.
I know sometimes I see you on Main Street. What's the motivation behind that?
Oh, we live in a really cool area, I realized. And when I was younger, I didn't really see it for what it is, but I think I'm starting to see it more. So the purpose behind me going uptown and working in public is just wanting to see the people more, connect with the community a little bit more. Like I think I've been able to see some kids that'll walk by or be with their parents. A lot of people will stop their car and there'll be a kid that's like, oh, mom, I want to stop and see what it is that he's painting or whatever. So it's really just about the community. Like social media is only a small fraction. There's a lot of people I realize they're not on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So it's just about connecting with more people.
Okay. What inspired you to pursue your passion in making art?
Well, I always did it. I think one thing that really put me in a more serious point of view when it comes to it is I went and I saw this woman named Marilyn Taylor, and Marilyn gave me a test here in Lexington, and it was like a cognitive test. So it was about it gave me like over 100 different questions about just all kinds of random stuff, and I was supposed to just answer it truthfully, like how I would what do I prefer, like science or whatever. It was just all kinds of questions. And when she got the results, she basically said like she had never seen something like that before. Like I was really, I think it was right side brained, where it's like I'm all artistic. Like that's what I'm about. It's like the
wow.
art.
So I'm wondering, what are some of the most major challenges that you have faced along your journey in becoming an artist, and how have you found the courage and the motivation to keep going?
I think that's a great question. I think forgiving myself has been a big part of like my growth as an artist. Forgiving myself for some of the things I used to do and how I used to be. I think the more you're in touch with yourself, the better your art will be. So like I feel like I'm a lot better now because God's kind of allowed me to grow more. You know what I mean? Like I'm humble more. Like, I've been humble more. Like I'm not thinking as negatively as I used to. And I think because of that, I've been allowed to grow more as an artist. So I feel like it was a lot harder to harbor bad feelings towards people, and that held me back. So now that I'm learning to let go of a lot more, it's helping me grow in a positive, more like impactful way. So that's what I'm on now. Like I wouldn't say I'm like a monk. There's still certain things that I'm holding on to from childhood, but I'm starting to learn how to let go.
Is there a specific moment or project that made you feel proud?
I would say I did this piece for C.H.A.M.P, and C.H.A.M.P is a local star, at least to me. He went and he's still playing in the NFL. This dude is a real baller, like, big guy, but walks and handles himself with class. Like you can tell there was never any like real controversy about him. Like, dude is just ball. So when when we were able to, like, he commissioned me to do artwork, so he paid me something for him, and it was basically artwork of him at North Davidson, and then at Tennessee, and then at what was the team? I think it was the Saints. So now he's a Panther. So it's like when I just think it's super dope to sit down on football, for a football game and look at the TV and be like, that guy right there, you know what I mean? Like has a custom piece, like that's something I could put on my resume. Like that's the kind of stuff I like to brag about because he's local, you know what I mean? And I think I used to look at it and be like, nah, that's kind of, I want to go to Los Angeles or Chicago or something like that. Nah, I think where you're at, where you came up, for the most part, I think that's where it's really cool. Like that's where you can, to bring up the place where you're at. Okay, if you thought something was lame or, not up to par, make it better. Don't leave because then the people that are younger than you, they're gonna do the same thing. Like nothing's gonna change. So it's like, don't leave, make it better.
Advice would you give them as far as like being an artist or being, what advice would you give them? That's part one. And part two, when can you come to my classroom?
Okay. I'll answer the second question. Whenever we both can make it happen, I'd show up. You don't have to worry about nothing. I'm there. I'd love to. And then I need a picture with you at the end. But to answer your first question, I would say the advice I would give them is, and I realized a lot of the most cliche statements were definitely true. Like, just stay true to you. You know what I mean? You are enough. That's what I would say. You are enough. Regardless of who your parents are, what your parents have done, you know what I mean? That you're your own person and you have plenty of power and God loves you.
Yes.
So regardless of who you are and what you look like and what you can do, how tall you are, whatever, God loves you. So